certify that notice of the time, date, and place of this special meeting was given at least 48 hours prior to this meeting to the county clerk of Woods County and was mailed or delivered to all of those who have made written requests and paid the request fee for notice of special meetings. I also certify that at least 48 hours prior to this special meeting, excluding Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, notice of the date, time, place, and agenda of this meeting was posted in prominent public view at the location of the meeting. Witness my hand this 26th day of April 2019.
Thanks, Pam. With what great pleasure,
well, a drum roll.
I'd like to administer the oath of office to board member Mrs. Karen Kane, seat number 4.
I, Karen Kane, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma, and that I will not knowingly receive directly or indirectly any money or other valuable thing for the performance or non-performance of any act or duty pertaining to my office, other than the compensation allowed by law. I further swear or affirm that I will faithfully discharge my duties as a board member of the Board of Education of Alva Independent School District number 001. Officially signed today's date, Karen Kane.
Thank you. Thank you for serving.
My pleasure.
My pleasure. It was a tough race.
It was bloody and sorry.
Okay, we're going to sign your oath and all of
I did
that.
that.
You've already done that. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Action to reorganize the Board of Education. Officers President, Vice President, Clerk, and Deputy Clerk. The floor is open for nominations.
I'd like to make the nomination to leave the seating exactly as it is. Jane McDermott, I don't have to go through it and say it, but Jane McDermott, President.
Let's say it so we know what you probably...
Jane McDermott, President. Tiffany Slater, Vice President. Karen Kane, Clerk. Larry Parker, Deputy Clerk.
Second.
Second.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
Do you have a railroad whistle?
That's kind of what that was.
We got you here. We got to move right into you. You've taken the time to be here.
I appreciate you doing it.
My pleasure. I'm glad you're here.
And I thank all of you for serving.
Thank you.
Likewise.
And your dedication and commitment and loyalty and support of children is to be commended.
You as well.
And you'll get your reward in heaven.
There you go.
For sure. I believe. Item number 7, discussion with possible board action, vote to accept the audit report from Pat Carroll of the firm Charles W. Carroll, PA, concerning the 2017-18 audit. Mr. Carroll.
Thank you all. I appreciate your meeting like this for me. I do need proof that I was here.
Okay.
I have to be here. The state says so, the federal government says so, but the State Board of Education wants proof. I have to send in a copy of the agenda, I have to send in the board minutes, I have to have you all sign this.
You can do it.
This is your audit for the 17-18 fiscal year. We have 2 opinion letters. The first one's on page 4, 5, and 6. It's the independent auditor's report over the financial statements on a regulatory basis of a county. It's considered being an unqualified opinion. That's what you want. You don't want a qualified opinion. It means we found a material misstatement either in the way the financial statements were presented or the amounts within those financial statements. You are on a regulatory basis of a county. It's required by the state of Oklahoma. It's a very conservative basis of the county. It's a modified cash. You only count your money when you actually receive it, but you count your expenditures when you as a board have approved those purchase orders. We have received the goods, we haven't paid for them yet, but that money has to be restricted in the year that you approve it. So it's a very conservative basis. It's not your money. We want to make it as conservative as possible. There are 3 major financial statements. There'll be Exhibit A, B, and C. Exhibit A is a balance sheet. Shows the governmental fund types that you have, general fund, special revenue, debt service, and there's a capital project. You don't have any funds in the capital project right now, but that's money that you sell on bond issues. You get that money in and then you spend it. The debt service is also where the money's collected to pay off your bond issues. We have a trust and agency. That's your activity fund, and you have another small account in there. I was trying to remember if that is a gift fund or, okay. So those are trust funds. Those are set up for you as a district, but those are monies that are set in trust, so they don't necessarily always show up as on your income statement, especially the sub-accounts within the activity fund. You approve those sub-accounts, you approve how they can raise the money and how they can spend the money. The general long-term debt just shows the money we have on hand in the debt service fund and the money we have to collect in the ensuing years to pay the remaining portion off. It shows the cash for each one of those types. We show liabilities. We have warrants payable and reserve encumbrances. Warrants payable is a check that's been issued, just hadn't gone through the bank. The reserve encumbrances are what I was just talking about. When you approve a purchase order, that reserves those funds. And it has to be reserved in that year that you approve those items. So that money's held back there so it can't be moved forward and inadvertently spent again. The fund balances then are in restricted and unassigned. The only one that has unassigned is your general fund. That's where you do your general operations. You're going to pay salaries, you're going to pay utilities, you're going to pay insurance, you're going to pay all the general operations of the district. Every other fund has monies that are reserved in there. And I say it's the only one that has unassigned. You also have that gift fund over there and it has $71,000 in it. And it can be used for what you assign for because it's not a specific use for that. The total fund balance there, you add that to the liabilities. It comes with the total liabilities and fund balances, but the total fund balance is what the money was you carried forward into the 18-19 year. That's what money went forward. B2 is a income statement. It shows your local revenues by the main sources of revenue, the expenditures by the main types of expenditures. It shows then any excess of revenues collected over or under expenditures. See a decrease in our general fund, our special revenue went up, debt service went down. The debt service is supposed to go down. You're going to collect money in that for 2 years once you do a bond issue, and then you're going to start paying it off. You also have the fiduciary, which was the gift fund. Shows the monies that have been collected, which was either a interest earned or a gift that came in, and then the dollars that were spent, so it decreased also. Then you take the total increase or decrease, add it to the previous year's beginning balance, and it gives you what our fund balance was again to go forward. Exhibit C is a budget to actual for the general fund, special revenue, and the debt service. You can't spend more money than spend budgeted or appropriated. If you receive more money that you want to spend, you have to do a supplemental appropriation, and it's approved by you as a board. If there's a difference between the original and final, and you didn't approve that supplement, you should be asking why. You might collect more cash, but you can't spend it if it hadn't been put into your budget. The actual then is what we just went over on Exhibit B for those different fund types. Starting on page 7, bottom page number 7, and going through page 14 are your notes of financial statements. A lot of good information in here. A lot of bad reading. I suggest you read it, go through it, but you might want to mark your spots. You may not want to start over. But it tells you a lot about your district. It talks about the reporting entity, the fund description, the different funds that you have. Also talks about your basis of accounting, budgetary accounting system that we're on. And bottom page number 11, we talk about your general long-term debt. The long-term debt that we have was your bonds of 2009. We have one payment that we'll pay out this month, and the bond issue is paid off.
April 19th.
On May 19th is when it was. After the notes, we have combining statements. It says within your special revenue, you had 2 funds. You have a building fund and a child nutrition fund. So it'll be the next page after all the notes. But it shows the funds on hand for each one of those funds, child nutrition in the building, any liabilities are outstanding, and then what the restricted fund balance was for each one of those fund types. Go pretty quick. I know you want to listen to me only until I get to the back. You don't want to listen too long to me. But if you've got a question, you have something you want to talk about, stop me. Because once I start talking, it just kind of falls out.
Thank you.
Go with it. B1 is an income statement for those two funds. It's a combined statement. And the total on that Schedule A1 is what shows up on Exhibit A for special revenues. The total on Schedule B1 is the total that shows up on Exhibit B for special revenues. But it shows the revenues collected and the types of expenditures for each one of those funds. You see your collections in the building fund, your ad valorem is $701,000. It's quite a bit of money, but that's not enough money to build anything with. You can kind of repair and keep up, maybe do some supplies. That's why you've done the bond issues that you have. This is the only money that comes in here unless you're going to, and if you're going to do capital expenditures, you have to do it through the building fund or through a bond fund. That doesn't build anything, doesn't build and improve what you've been improving. That's why you've done those bond issues over the last several years. We had an increase in both the funds. We had an increase in the building fund and the child nutrition fund. I will say that one in the child nutrition fund is a bit of a misnomer. Child nutrition fund never pays for itself. You spend money out of the general fund paying for your child nutrition, whether it's utilities, whether it's insurance, things like that. You make more money per child on free and reduced meals than you do on the actual sale of meals. And you're restricted by the federal government on how much you can charge on a meal for the students. So you're making more money from those than you are from your local sales. It shows that we have some. We can't always show everything, because if we come up and we have more money than what we're going to spend in the first 3 months, the state's going to penalize you. So we have to show that we're spending these dollars, and we also have to show that we spent all the federal money that's given to us for the dollars amount that we have. Schedule C1 is the budget to actual. Again, it shows the final original budget for the building fund. The actual is what we just went over on the previous page. Then the far right-hand column is what shows up on Exhibit C for your special revenues. Schedule 1, the next page, is your schedule of expenditures of federal awards. The left-hand column shows the federal programs that you have. The last 5 columns then show the dollar amounts that we're dealing with within these. We started the year with an accrued balance of $97,000. That's money that we had spent in the previous year, but we had not received by June 30th. It usually happens because we have to have all of our information turned into the state by June 2nd, or we don't get that money back until the next year. And to get that turned into the state, we not only have to have a encumbrance or PO, we have to have a warrant issue. And some of these might be payroll, they might be supplies and stuff that we've ordered, we haven't got in, so we haven't issued that warrant yet. So we don't receive those till the next year. We did receive $788,000 in monies. We spent $702,000. At the end of the year, we still had $11,000 that was accrued that was to come to us, which has come in since that time into that program. Schedule 2 goes for 2 pages. These are activity funds. See the number of sub-accounts you have. You approve these sub-accounts. You approve how they raise the money and how you spend the money. Each one of these sub-accounts has a sponsor. That sponsor has to do the same thing that your treasurer and encumbrance clerk does. They have to make sure they receive the money when they receive it. The money's turned in on a daily basis to the custodian to make a deposit. Anytime there's $100 or more within an activity, total activity fund, we have to make a deposit. The state says we have to do that. We don't know unless everybody's turning the money. They also, before they can make an expenditure, they're turning in a requisition showing what they want to buy. You've approved what it is, but it can't just say supplies. It can't say stuff. We're not shopping. We're showing what we want to buy. This is the amount that we think it's going to be. Then you go make that purchase. We can't do it unless we have enough money in our sub-accounts, so we have to make sure there's money in that sub-account before you go make that purchase. Once that purchase is made, we have to have an itemized invoices of what they buy. It should be signed by the person who received those goods or services. So if we can't find it, we can find out where it is. It's a requirement. It's good internal control. It's how it should be. It seems like a penalty, especially on the receiving, but if we have money that comes in, and it's held by the sponsor, and it's held long enough, whether it's in the truck, in the purse, on the desk, in the desk, if there's an opportunity, there can become a need, and that money will go away. Parent doesn't want to pay it again, student doesn't want to pay it again, school district can't pay it, we never receipted it in, so who would be responsible? The teacher would be. That's why it's important that they turn it in. It's just not a penalty, it's a safeguard for them also.
Does that receipt have to have an original signature or a copy of a receipt? So if I,
A copy of the receipt needs to be signed,
With-
yeah, but it has to be an itemized receipt.
yeah.
Credit card ticket is not an itemized receipt. To see how much money we spent. We spent a reflected $776,000, we spent $814,000. It's a lot of popcorn, a lot of t-shirts. A lot of money goes through the activity, but it's our highest risk. It's cash. The district gets money from the state, county, and federal government.
You see a lot of schools.
Yes.
And how do we match up with our peers as far as the amount of money we're running through?
Just about the same. And you see where most of it is. Most of it's either going to be through your child nutrition or your athletics. That's where most of the money's come in from, what they go through. But that's, you know, the bigger schools have more money, smaller schools have less money. But yes, it's pretty close to the same. If you have accounts in there that aren't doing anything and haven't done anything for a while, you might wonder if you need those. But most of yours have been moved forward as you've gone, so you don't have a lot of excess in there. Over the years, we've really seen the number of sub-accounts increase because there's just so many other things that these students do. And as that's happened, everybody wants their own department, they want their own outside group, they want to be able to go someplace and do something, and that's how you can pay for these things. You can pay for travel from the district, but you can't pay for lodging and meals for outside athletic activity funds except through an activity fund. The reconciliation statement, I will say we had an outstanding debt for 16-17. If that's still outstanding, that can be stopped and brought forward. It doesn't have to stay out. After a year, you can close that. And if you have them further back, which you don't, they've been taken care of. It usually means it's been lost or it's gone through the washing machine, something's happened, it's not there, we can cancel those checks and bring them forward. Page 15 and 16. This is when I tell you that we checked everything else. This is our second report. It's on internal control, financial reporting, compliance, and other matters. So when we check the receipts, this is when we check the expenditures, we check your payroll, we look at teacher retirement, we read your board minutes, we interview different people, we do a number of different things to make sure that things are being done correctly. The good thing is we found no material misstatements or significant deficiencies that we brought to the attention of the administration. While everything may not be exactly perfect, it was so small it's not affecting how the districts operate. It's a really good report. You had an increase in funds. You didn't have any major statements that needed to be made. You should be real happy with what happened.
We got the best employees in the
Get your
world.
gold star.
Yeah, we'll take
It
it.
isn't about us, it's about the
Yes, it is, you're right.
girls that.
And that's exactly what it is, because there's so much training and oversight that goes into this. And a lot of people become, they're the ones everybody's angry with. Because why do I have to do this? Why is this going on? It's going on because it's required. And it's a safeguard of public monies. So that's why those restrictions and why those requirements are there. They're by you, they're by the federal government, and by the state of Oklahoma. And I just report. I don't make them up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Like I said, I go quickly, but if there's anything you want to ask or find out.
Any questions? Well, it does mean a lot that you would be here today.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you.
That helps us to,
I'm glad it worked out.
we like good news.
I thought I'd show up for good news. I always show up for bad news. I'll show up for good news.
We appreciate you and
All right.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Safe travels.
All right, thanks.
Did Did you get all the paperwork you needed? I guess you
I
did.
think we
I
signed
did.
everything.
We also
I'll get this
Okay, good.
notarized.
Okay.
Is there a notary up front? Are you a notary? You don't have yours with you?
Terry's, Myra is, she's in that first, she's a notary up there.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
I'll just call you and get my copy.
Superintendent's report.
We need a motion
Oh.
on that, to accept the report.
Thank you, Pam.
You can do that. A motion to accept the 2017-18 auditor's report.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Hanson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
McDermott.
Aye. Okay, now we can move forward. Thank you. I don't know what we do without you.
I don't either.
Superintendent's report, resignations, retirements, and reassignments.
Okay, we have one resignation. Marquette Bergner will be leaving us as paraprofessional. Thank Marquette for her work. She's worked a number of years for Alva Public Schools as a paraprofessional, so we wish her the best of luck. Reassignments, want to commend our principals. They have been very busy with reassignments and then also the interview process for teachers for next school year. We are reassigning Chastity Gingrich. She's been a Longfellow Lincoln counselor to 3rd grade. Ryan Wilson has been teaching at Alva Middle School social studies, and he will be teaching Oklahoma history at the high school. And Tanya Phillips is going to be moving from language arts to our ESL program to replace the resignation of Mrs. Leiter. And that is all I have.
Will she be housed in at Washington?
Tanya, Alva High School.
Oh, high school.
Yes.
And those are just information items, correct?
Correct.
Items of current business, 9.1, discussion with possible board action, offer of employment to applicant number 1 for non-certified custodial position.
I would like to recommend the hiring of Dustin Moffett. Dustin has been working for us for a couple of weeks now and is doing some custodial and some grounds and maintenance. If you've been by the middle school, it looks fantastic. Dustin is doing a great job, and we're happy to have him, and I would recommend his employment.
It does look wonderful. Feeling we all noticed. I noticed. It looks awesome. Need a motion to accept that?
I move that we offer employment to applicant number 1 for a non-certified custodial position for fiscal year 19.
Second.
Parker,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
McDermott.
Aye. 9.2, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve the Alva High School Club using 3 Suburbans to travel out of state to Corpus Christi, Texas from May 19th through May 24th, 2019. There will be 18 students and 3 adult sponsors going on this trip.
This is a pretty routine trip Mrs. Stout does when she's able to have enough students, and I would recommend to the board that these students are able to travel to Corpus Christi.
So moved.
Second.
Kane,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
McDermott.
Aye. 9.3, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve the request for the lease of 2 buses to the First Baptist Church during July 15th through 20th, 2019 to travel to Falls Creek. At Davis, Oklahoma, the First Baptist Church will provide licensed certified bus driver, fuels, and certificates of insurance.
And again, the First Baptist Church has done this for a number of years, and I would recommend that we approve the request for lease of the 2 buses.
So moved.
Second.
Slater,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes, signing of documents approved by earlier action, and a motion to adjourn. Mr. Parker?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Kane,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
McDermott.
Aye.